Hello and welcome to a video on angle relationships. This first page should be review for you. If there is something on this first page that you are like, oh, I forgot that, you might want to write that down in your notes, okay? These are things that at this point I'm going to assume you already have knowledge of. And then the second slide we're going to build. So an angle has two sides and those two sides share a midpoint. When we see an angle, okay, this is a side and this is a side, and then here they are sharing a midpoint. Okay, that midpoint is called a vertex, okay, and that's the point where those sides that I was just talking about would meet. The symbol when you're talking about angles is simply this. Anytime you're naming an angle, instead of writing out the word angle, you can simply put that symbol in. So there's several ways that you can name angles. These are the ones I have listed for you we're going to talk about. The first one is that you can use the vertex as the middle letter. So here we're going to look at, and this would be, if we're looking at this angle to the right here, we're going to name that angle, and I'm going to name it angle ABC. Okay, so I'm using the letters in the order with the vertex being the middle letter. You can also name the angle by using only the vertex, in which case this could be called angle B. And then third, if there's a number involved, you can just use that number, and so this could be like labeled angle 1. So with that being said, for this angle here, it could go by any of those names. All right, so here's a quick review of some of our types of angles. So we have a right angle. Our right angles we know are 90 degrees. Oops. We have an acute angle. That is going to be less than 90 degrees. Of course, my dog is chewing on a toy during this. We have an obtuse angle. That is going to be more than 90 degrees. And then we have a straight angle. We're going to use straight angles quite a bit in angle relationships. And this one is exactly 180 degrees. Okay, so that's the page there that should be reviewed. Now we're going to go on to the new information, and that is talking about angle relationships, okay? Specifically today we're talking about adjacent and vertical angles. So two angles are going to be what we're going to call adjacent, and this page out is a non-negotiable. You should be writing this one in your notes. If they share a common side and they have the same vertex. Okay, then we have vertical angles. So two angles are going to be vertical when they are opposite angles formed by the intersection of two lines. So we have a few examples down here we're going to take a look at. So here, the first one I'm going to look at, I can see they are going to share this side right here, and if I go back up to the top here, my notes tell me that when they share a side, that makes them adjacent. So these are adjacent angles. Okay, for the next one here, it says that or if I look at them, these are going to be two angles that are formed at an intersection. Here's an intersection here where these two angles are formed, so this is going to be vertical angles. Okay, then we have another one down here where what we should see here is that they are sharing a side here. Okay, so that makes them adjacent. And then the last one here, again, we should be able to see that they are formed at an intersection, and so that makes these vertical angles. Now the last thing we should be able to do is we should be able to go back to these angles now, and we should be able to solve what the missing angle is in each of these problems. So what I know here with this first adjacent angle is that this is a straight line I'm looking at here. This makes a straight line, which is going to be 180 degrees. I know that this one angle here that's part of my pair of angles here is 32 degrees. So if one I know is 180 and the other is 32, I'm going to subtract those to find the degrees for my missing angle here. So in order to do that, that would be 10 minus 2 is 8, and then I had to borrow there, so 7 minus 3 is 4, bring down my 1. So this missing angle is 148 degrees. You can check your math there by adding those back up together and making sure that they equal 180 degrees. The vertical angles are a little easier because they are adjacent. They are vertical and they are congruent. So whatever one of your angles would be, so would the other. So if this first one is 142 degrees, we know that x, the other one, is also 142 degrees. Here's another adjacent angle. This one's a little different. This is a right angle that we're looking at here, which I know is 90 degrees. I see this one identified as 35 degrees, so I'm going to again subtract those. And so then 10 minus 5 is 5, 8 minus 3 is 5, so this missing angle is 55 degrees. You can see here we've already used prior knowledge twice now. When I told you you should know those angles and their degrees, here we've used a straight angle and we needed to know that was 180. Here we've used a right angle and we needed to know that was 90 degrees. All right, the last one here, what we should see here is that this is vertical and those vertical angles are going to be congruent. So that is going to be 70 degrees. Let's go back up here and write here. Vertical angles are congruent. Congruent is just a fancy word of meaning they equal the same thing.